Okay, this is probably going to be the last required practical that you do for A-level physics. It's the inverse square law for gamma radiation. So what do? We have a source that emits our gamma radiation. And you could have that on one of these specially made benches that has a scale on it, or you could just use a meter rule. And then you're going to have your GM tube, that's your Geiger-Müller tube, some distance away, and you're going to change that distance. That's going to go to a scaler or a counter. That's just going to count each individual bit of radiation that the GM tube detects. Now, the source is going to be something like cobalt-60, something like that, and it does need to be a gamma emitter. This doesn't work for alpha or beta radiation because, as we know, air absorbs both alpha and beta. So what's our independent variable going to be? It's going to be distance between source and the GM tube. And it's up to you where you decide where you're going to be measuring the length from and to, but you just need to be consistent. But I would do it from the very edge of the source to the very edge of the GM tube. So the shortest distance between the two objects. Our dependent variable, that's going to be the activity that we measure. So that's going to be counts per second. But if we just do the counts over a second, then that's not going to be very accurate, is it? So instead we measure the counts for 1 minute and then we divide by 60 to get to counts per second. What are our controls going to be? Well, we want the same source for starters. If it was a different source, even if it was the same isotope, then we could have a different activity. So we want the same activity for the source. And we want the same GM tube as well, because there's only a certain area of our detector that is detecting radiation. That's the bit that's facing the source. To ensure that we get nice accurate results, we want to do a background count. So we just take the source away and we count how many bits of radiation we're detecting every minute, and then we subtract that from every reading after that. And that gets rid of any systematic error that could have been there because of background radiation. What kind of distances do we want? Well, 10 centimeters to 100 centimeters is ideal. Now, because the source is emitting radiation in all directions, we can imagine that all of the radiation is going through an imaginary sphere with the radius of the distance between the source and the GM tube. And so if we get further out, then that imaginary sphere is getting bigger. What's the area of that sphere dependent on? Well, it's radius squared, not radius cubed. And that's why it's the inverse square law. So that means that the count that we detect is inversely proportional to the distance squared. And I'm going to replace that with x. So what do we need to plot on our axes? Well, we're not going to put c against x, count against distance. That's because they are not proportional. So we could, if we wanted to, put count on the y-axis, and then we could put 1 over x squared on the x-axis. However, it's better to rearrange it, and you'll see why in a minute. So because c is proportional to 1 over x squared, that means that x squared is inversely proportional to the count. Square root the whole thing. That means that distance is inversely proportional to the square root of the count. So what we're going to do is put just distance, x, on the x-axis, and then we're going to do 1 divided by the square root of the count on the y-axis. Now what you'll probably find is your results give a nice straight line, but they don't quite go through the origin. And so that means that we can extrapolate this line back here. We have a systematic error, but where's that coming from? Basically, our graph is saying that even if these two things were touching, it still seems like there should be a distance left over. And this is due to the detector and source distances being longer than we think and what we measured. What does that mean? Well, it probably means that the actual detector for the GM tube is not at the end there. And it probably means the source isn't going to be at the edge here. Source is probably going to be back here. And so actually, in reality, our distances should have been like that. And so if you find this, then you can actually find out how much bigger your distances should have been. If for some reason you don't get a straight line, especially at the bottom here, it's probably due to the source not being a pure gamma emitter. And in fact, it's probably very unlikely that you have a source that is purely gamma emitting. But because we're starting at 10 centimeters, chances are that no alpha is going to get to your GM tube, but there might be some beta that gets to it. And so that could result in your graph curving a little bit. Safety precautions, well, we want to handle source with tongs, not our hands, and we could use gloves as well, just to be safe. And we need to make sure that, because most of the radiation comes out of the hole in the source, we need to make sure that that is not pointing towards anybody. Ensure source always pointing away from people. And that's it. If you want to see me doing this experiment in real life, then click on the card and it'll take you to the video that I made for Raspberry Science. Or you can check out the videos for the rest of the required practicals that I've made on this channel. So I'll see you next time.